Greetings. In this video, we will learn how to set up the learning module in the Blackboard course. But before we get into setting up the learning module, let us understand the difference between two similar options, the learning module and content folder in Blackboard. The learning module and the content folder are both available from the menu for build content. Both the learning module and the content folder are containers. They could contain multiple items. For example, overview for the week, videos, lecture notes, assignments, discussions, blogs, and so on. However, the difference is learning module is displayed with a table of contents. So when a student comes to the course and selects a link for the learning module, table of contents is presented and the student then has the option of selecting any of the items that are in the table of contents. As compared to that, if you set up the same items in a folder, when a student selects the folder, all the student will see is the first item. So there is no indication of how many items are contained in that folder, or for that matter, what those items are. So here is a course in which I have set up two container items. The first one that you see here is the learning module. The second is the folder. And so if I click into it, keep in mind you're looking at this in an instructor view. So as you can see, there is a whole bunch of items within the learning module. And if I go back to the folder, the same number of items are contained within it. Now let's look at both these items in the student preview mode. I click on weekly content. Then when I click on the basic functions, the learning module, the student is presented with a table of contents. The students can click on any of these options and access them randomly. Now let's move back to see what the experience is when we set up the items in a folder. At this point, there is no indication of what lies below it. So the only way I will find out is if I scroll. And if you have multiple items in that folder, as you can imagine, it's going to be very difficult for the student to figure out what items are available. When you have a series of items that are connected with a specific module or week in your course, it may be better to use the learning module option. So getting back to our Sea Turtles course, you'll notice that we have 3 learning modules we need to set up in it. So let's see how we can go about setting it up in the course. As we examine the sitemap, what we will see is that the 3 learning modules are contained within the content area, weekly content. So let's find the weekly content. Here it is. And when I click on it, we're going to start off with a blank content area. In order to set up the learning module, we position our cursor on build content and then find the learning module below it. And all we now need to do is make sure that we get the label correct. So the first one is called Week 1 Introduction to Sea Turtles. So I've just copied it and I'm pasting it in the name field. At this point, we will not change any other settings. However, just keep in mind that just as we were able to hide and show the items in the navigation panel, here too we can hide or show individual items. So when I click submit, we will have set up our first learning module. And so this is the process we will use to set up the other 2 learning modules also. So we've got week 2 and submit. And week 3 and submit. And it's always a good practice to check what the students are going to see in your course. You can do that by clicking on Enter Student Preview. You are now seeing the course the way your student is going to see it. So there's the weekly content, and I've got my 3 learning modules. When I click on them, they are empty because we have not added any content to each of the learning modules.